Hey guys, it's Rich, and this is the 77 question Witchy community tag. So, Annie did this tag, I think it was towards the middle or end of last year, of 2015. So, if you haven't watched hers, go ahead and watch that. And right here, right now, I'm just going to say, everybody who is watching this, who has not done this before, is now tagged, and you're it. So consider yourself tagged. I am going to post these videos over the course of 1 week, so you will get 11 questions a day. I didn't want to do them all at once because, let's face it, I'm just going to say it would be a bitch to edit, and it would be super long. Some of these topics I really want to go a little bit further on than just answering them and moving on. And some of the other questions I might actually make into a full topic video at one point or another. So let's get started with question number 1. Do you use runes as a written language? I have in the past. Whenever I first started learning runes, I was very much into writing things down in a runic style or a runic alphabet translation. However, I don't do it anymore. And the reason that I don't do it anymore is because it takes way too long for me to retranslate it back into English, which is what I read. I'm not good at translating things back and forth. It takes too long. It's just too much trouble for me. I do like the idea of doing sigils in a runic style, translated from words. I do like that idea, but I haven't really done sigils as much, and it's something that I really want to look more into because I find them fascinating in the way that they're made and the way that you can put different intentions into one symbol. Question number 2 is, do you feel you have natural gifts such as premonitions, hearing spirits, and if so, do you think this is what led you to this path? I wouldn't say that I have any natural gifts such as premonitions or hearing spirits. I certainly don't see spirits very often. They are things that I've had happen to me or that I've experienced, however you want to put it. I guess experience would be the best word for it. But I have had those experiences, but it's not something that's predominant in my life. I guess the closest natural gift that I would say that I have is being an empath. Being able to feel what somebody else is feeling is very much a gift of mine that I kind of love and hate at the same time. And if you're an empath or have empathic tendencies, you will know that if you're not careful, you can go down the rabbit hole pretty quickly on connecting with somebody. Their feelings become your feelings, and you embody how they feel. It can be very overwhelming. It can overtake you and can actually ruin your entire day. And it's taken me a while to figure out how to shield myself so that I don't take on the emotions of somebody else to that extent. I will say that I love it in the fact that I can connect with somebody in a way that is so personal and meaningful to both them and myself. So it is very much a love-hate relationship whenever it comes to the natural gift of empathy that I feel I possess. Question number 3 is, what deity do you work with, if any, and why? I've spoken about this before, and I'm thinking this would just be a quick answer. I work with Jesus Christ. As you guys know, I am a Christo-Pagan. And Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. Sophia recently came into my life, and Christ has been there, oh, wow, it's been probably about 15, 16 years-ish. Actually, probably closer to 17 years, somewhere in that amount of time. But the reason that I work with Christ is because he's very much that old friend, the one that you can't and don't want to get rid of, the one that offers comfort when comfort is needed, the one that celebrates in joy whenever there are joyous times, cries with you when you have times of sorrow. And with Sophia, it's very much a new experience for me, working with a goddess. Sophia is that calming and wise teacher, the type that I long for. Now, there are teachers that I've had that might or might not consider themselves teachers to me, but I have had those teachers in my life that embody that wisdom aspect, and I very much see a part of Sophia in each one of them. Certainly the level head, the connection to the divine in the wisdom aspect. And like I said, I've only started working with her since January, so it's something that I'm still exploring and getting to know her. And as I understand, with any god or goddess that you choose, there is that side of good and the side of, I don't want to say evil because that's not the right word, the side of anger, I guess you would say. So I haven't seen that side, the less good side. I've only seen the loving aspects so far. But I'm sure they're there. And I know that whenever the time is right and I either need to see them or need to experience them, that I will see those sides of Sophia and of Christ. I have seen the joyous, the angry, the justified anger, the sorrowful, the anguish. I've seen those sides of Christ, but I have yet to see them with Sophia, mainly due to the fact that I'm still beginning to work with her. As much as I don't want those times of sorrow and those times of justified anger or anger in general, as much as I don't want to have those times, knowing that they will draw me closer to Sophia and those aspects of her, I kind of cannot wait to experience them. Though I don't want them to come anytime soon, that's for sure. Question number 4 is, have you always worked with the same deity? No. That's pretty much a quick answer on that one. Like I said, I've worked with Christ, both as a Christian and a Christo-Pagan, for many years. Anywhere between 15 and 17 years I've worked with him. Actually, I think it's actually closer to 17 now that I think about it, because I believe it was 1999. But I have worked with Christ for many years. Like I said, I have only recently started working with Sophia, and Pan I've only worked with on occasion. Question number 5 is, do you use any personal items in your practice, such as blood, semen, tears, urine, etc.? Now, this is one that I haven't worked much with, but I have worked with it. There is a ritual in the Witch's Book of the Dead by Christian Day, which, if you haven't read it and you're looking for something to connect you more with spirits of the departed, the spirits of the dead, I would suggest reading that, and if you feel ready, to go ahead with that. But one of the first rituals in that book calls for blood. And it's the first time that I've ever used blood in a ritual. And I found this ritual so empowering for me because it is a ritual of doing away with the dogmas and doctrines, the things that hold you back in your magical practice. For me, that was a very important ritual that I contemplated long and hard about whether or not I was going to omit using blood in it. And at the end, I decided that no, this is something that I want to do. I haven't used any other products in my rituals, such as semen, tears, or urine, but it is something that fascinates me. And I kind of like the idea of using these in ritual or in spell work, but it's not something that has really come up in my practice. So, for me, those types of bodily fluids or products are not usually a part of my practice. However, it does fascinate me to include them in my practice, so it might be something that I use in the future, as I have experienced the using of blood in ritual as a very powerful experience. Question number 6 is, do you do past life readings, or have you ever had one done? Who were you, or how did you die? Okay, so I don't do past life readings, and I've never really had a true past life regression. I will say that one of the meditations with the Psychic Teachers podcast that if you aren't listening to, I've mentioned it before, you should be listening to it. But one of the meditations that they did was cutting cords from your past lives, whether if you made a vow of poverty or a vow of chastity or something like that. In some practices, it's thought that those continue through to the next life, these vows that we take. And I went through that meditation and I absolutely loved it. One of the aspects of the meditation is to envision your past lives all being connected by a cord and cutting that cord that connects you to your past life or the past vows or deeds that you have made or done in order to live a fuller and better life now. That's kind of the most that I've gone towards a past life regression or a past life reading. Like I said, I haven't really done much with past lives. It's something that kind of intrigues me as much as it does scare me. I don't know that I would want to know my past life. And I've talked with, I believe it was Claire that I was talking with, and I told her that yes, I am intrigued by it, but I also don't want to know what happened in the past, because then it would be like I'm living in the past, or that I'm fixated on what I should or should not have done. At least for me, it's not something that's really that prevalent in my life, but it does intrigue me to figure out what happened in my past life. So maybe in the future I will have a past life regression, but as of right now, I want to live in the moment of the here and now and know what this moment has in store for me rather than the past moments. Question number 7. What is your favorite magical tool? Okay. Now, I have blogged about this, and I don't know if I would consider this item as a tool, because I very much consider this item as a working partner. And that is my crystal ball chip. And this is Chip right here. And I don't know if I've shown him on previous videos, but Chip and I have a very connected relationship. And he is a he. And like I said, I don't know if I would consider Chip a tool as much as I would a working partner. So with that being said, I would say that my other favorite tool would be my wand. And while I love my Book of Shadows, the wand for me has a connection. It is actually one of the first tools that I've gotten, and it's one that I think I showed in previous videos. I'm pretty sure I have. So, yeah, it's very much a tool that I use kind of regularly, but I have been using my wand lately only because I'm trying to experience more of my practice with my hands and the energy work that I can do with my mind and with my hands as tool-free as I can. So, yeah, that would be my other favorite tool. As always, the Book of Shadows is a favorite tool of mine, but again, that's more of a working partner or a chronicle of who I am and how far I've come. So I don't know if I'd consider that a tool. Question number 8 is, what is a song or type of music that gets you in the witchy mood? Okay, so let's define what the witchy mood is the mood of spellcasting, in which everything Harry Potter would be considered getting me in the witchy mood. But I would have to say that if I were to pick a type of music that got me in the witchy mood, or a certain song that got me in the witchy mood of spellcasting or of meditation, I would have to lean towards I believe it's the Gordon Brothers. I believe it's the Gordon Brothers. I believe it's the Shaman Vision Journey. I do believe is what it's called, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it's called. That is a CD that has gotten played and replayed and has been on my phone and on my computer and played and replayed several times over, just because it is so relaxing to me. I have used it in meditation, I've used it in ritual, and I absolutely love it. Now, if we're talking about in that meditative, contemplative state, I am very much a Johnny Cash fan. If you are a Johnny Cash fan, then you know that there is so much contemplation that can go along with his music. The stories that he tells in his ballads can be pondered on for hours on end, and the same is true for his daughter Roseanne Cash, which I actually met and thought she was an absolute delight. Yes, I am a Roseanne Cash fan as well, but I have found her music as well to be very contemplative. Ones where I can sit there and listen to it and think about that one song and all the aspects that go along with that one song for hours. So, if it's the contemplative state, then I would say the Cash family. If it is the relaxation or the ritual aspect, I would have to say it's the Gordon Brothers and the Shaman Vision Journey or Vision Quest or whatever it's called. I'll put the name like right here so you guys know. Question number 9 is, where is the most magical place you have ever been? Whenever it comes to magical places, I don't know if I've ever really been to a magical place that I would consider to be overly magical. I have been in places that were beautiful, such as I mentioned in a previous video, whenever I was in Baghdad, Iraq, that I absolutely loved the atmosphere of the place itself, the sunrises and the sunsets, the look and the feel of the nature that I saw around me. I absolutely loved that area. However, magical, even though I wasn't on my magical practice path yet, I don't really know if I'd consider it a magical place. Now, I could go there now and say that, yeah, it's very magical. but I did not have that feeling then because I wasn't really attuned to picking up the magical feelings. As far as magical places I've been, I don't know if I've been in any place that's considered magical. However, I will say that being in a cemetery can be a very magical experience for me. Not necessarily connecting with the spirits, because if you work with spirits, you will know as well that cemeteries aren't really a place where spirits like to hang out at. But I will consider cemeteries as a magical place because of the calm and the peaceful aspect. After all, nobody bothers you when you're at a cemetery. Very rarely do people ask what you're doing there. Very rarely do people kind of strike up conversation with you, even though I have had it before when you're at a cemetery. It's very much that introspective time, that time whenever you can sit there and look inward, where you can contemplate your own existence while looking at the headstone of somebody who their existence on this earthly plane has come and gone. One of my favorite cemeteries is actually in Kansas, and I've done videos there where I just sit there on a bench and I'm just at peace. It's a place where I've gone to write, it's a place where I've gone to record videos, or just to think. I'm very much a cemetery goer, whether I know anybody that's there or not. Question number 10 is, what animal is your familiar, if any? And by this, I wonder if the person is actually asking about like a totem animal, which mine would be the camel. And if they don't mean it as a totem animal and as a familiar itself, then I would say that my familiar is a cat. I've shared in previous videos, at least on the Pagan Perspective, my cat Jelly. Question number 11 is along the same lines. If you have a familiar, did you choose them, or did they choose you? Now with this one, there is a little bit of a backstory to it. My ex and I were going to the shelter to pick out a dog. He wanted a dog. I'm more of a cat person, even though I love my Minn Kota and both of my cats, which I miss a lot right now. I really wish I could have brought them to Korea with me. So whenever we got to the shelter, we were looking at dogs, and no dog really jumped out at us to pick out. And I said, let's go look at some cats, because I'd like to get a cat. And we came up to these cats, and these little kittens about 6 months old. And the person that was working there let me hold one of the cats, and her name was Jelly already. I did not name her. But this person let me hold her, and whenever my partner at the time tried to hold her, she didn't want to be held by him. She really didn't want to be held by the person working there either. I was the only one that she really wanted to be held by. Now apparently she forgot that whenever I first got her because she's so skittish of a kitty. But I am one of the few people that she will actually go up to and curl up and sleep with. Whether she sleeps on my lap or next to me, a lot of times she likes to sleep in between my legs whenever I'm laying down. So it took a long time for us to really get that connection. But I have meditated with her. I've given her energy whenever I was wanting to drain of energy, my own form of grounding with her. And she has given me energy whenever I needed energy. And doing these energy exchanges, it's a very magical experience for me. I cannot wait for the day that I actually get to have my kitty cat, my familiar, my Jelly Belly, as I call her. I really cannot wait for the day that I get to have her physically with me again. Until that time, I get to see her on the astral plane. which is such a magical experience with her. So with that, this finishes out the first video in the 77 question Witchy community tag. So if you guys would like to do this tag as well, I'm going to have in the bottom bar a full list of the questions. I will also be posting these questions on Christo-Paganism.com, which you can find here. So you can look at all the questions yourself and either answer them in written form, or you can do your own tag video, which I would be very interested in seeing. So go ahead and see the questions in their entirety at Christo-Paganism.com. If you click right there, it'll take you there. Also, if you are not subscribed, go ahead and click subscribe right above my head. And if you aren't stalking me on Twitter and would like to do so, click right there and you can do that. Until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs.